Hi everybody and welcome back to book club. This is our second to last. Next Friday will be our last book club before summer reading is over on July 31st. That last Friday we won't be doing book club because I will be doing all of the end of summer reading stuff, counting up the points, running the reports, making sure you all get the prizes you're supposed to get, all that fun stuff. So make sure you keep reading. You've got 2 more weeks to go. And for this week, we are going to be learning about a Norse myth, Freyja's necklace. So here we go. Yes, I really must have some flowers to wear to the feast tonight, said Freyja to her husband Odin. Now these names are supposed to have a rolled R, which I, for the life of me, cannot do. So please go on YouTube, search for somebody who can pronounce them properly because the names sound really cool when they're said correctly, and I wish my tongue would allow me to do that, but unfortunately it won't, so I'll try my best. And as always, the names of the characters and mythological people will be found down below in the description. Freyja was the goddess of love and beauty. She was the most beautiful of all the Aesir, and everyone loved to look on her charming face and to hear her sweet voice. Now the Norse gods were categorized into 2 different kind of tribes of gods. There was the Aesir, which was the principal group, and then there was the Vanir. Now originally Freyja was part of the Vanir, but then she became an Aesir. It's really interesting. Look into it if you're interested in Norse mythology. Anyway, I think you look quite beautiful enough as you are, without flowers, Odin replied. But Freyja was not satisfied. She thought she would go and find her brother Frey, the god of summer, for he would give her a garland of flowers. So she wandered forth from Asgard on her way to Frey's bright home in Alfheim, where he lived among his happy, busy little elves. As Freyja walked along, she was thinking of the feast to be given that night in Asgard, and knowing that all the gods and goddesses would be there, she wished to look her very best. On and on she wandered, not thinking how far she was getting away from her home. Finally, the light began to grow fainter and fainter, and Freyja found herself in a strange place. The sunlight had faded away, but there was still a little light that came from lanterns carried by funny little dwarves who were busily working. Some were digging gold and gems, and others were cleaning off dirt from the precious stones and polishing them to make them bright, while 4 little fellows were seated in one corner, putting the sparkling stones together into a wonderful necklace. What can that beautiful thing be, thought Freyja. If only I had that. It would surely make me look more beautiful than anyone else at the feast tonight. And the more she thought about it, the more she longed to get it. Oh, I really must have it, she said to herself. And with these words, she stepped nearer to the 4 little men. For what price will you sell me your necklace? She asked. The dwarves looked up from their work, and when they saw Freyja's lovely face and heard her sweet voice, said, "Oh, if you will only look kindly upon us and be our friend, you may have the necklace." Then a mocking laugh echoed again and again through the dark cavern, seeming to say, "How foolish you are! For these bright diamonds, they will not make you happy." But Freyja snatched the necklace and ran out of the cavern. It did not please her to hear the teasing laugh of the dwarves, and she wanted to get away from them as soon as possible. At last, she was once more out in the open air. She tried to be free and happy again, but a strange feeling of dread came over her, as if something were going to happen. And soon she came to a still pool of water, and putting on the necklace, she bent over to look at her picture in the clear water. How beautiful the diamonds were, and how they sparkled in the sunshine. She must hasten home to show them to Odin. The fair goddess soon reached Asgard and hurried to the palace to find her husband, but Odin was not there. Over and over again she searched through the rooms in vain. He had gone, and although Freyja had her beautiful necklace, she cared little for it without her dear husband. Soon it was time to go to the feast, but Freyja would not go without Odin. She sat down and wept bitter tears. She felt no joy now for having that necklace, and no sorrow because she could not feast with the Aesir. If only Odur would come back, all would be well again. I will go to the end of the world to find him, said Freyja, and she began to make her journey. Her chariot, drawn by 2 cats, was soon ready, but before she could start, she must first ask Father Odin to allow her to go. All-Father, I beg you, give me leave to go to look for Odur in every corner of the world. The wise father replied, Go, fair Freyja, and may you find whom you seek. And then she started forth. First to Midgard world, the goddess of beauty went, but no one in the world had seen or heard of Odur. Down under the earth to Niflheim, and even to Utgard, the land of giants, she wandered, but still no one had seen or even heard of her husband. Poor Freyja wept many tears, and wherever the teardrops fell and sank into the ground, they turned into glistening gold. At last the sad goddess returned to her own palace alone. She still wore the wonderful necklace, which was called Bringsamen. One night, when the hour was late, all of the Aesir were asleep, except the ever-watchful Heimdall, who heard footsteps soft like those of a cat near Freyja's palace. He listened and thought, that is surely someone bent on mischief. I must follow him. When Heimdall reached the palace, he found it was Loki, changed into another form, creeping softly about. Heimdall quietly watched him and saw him glide into Freyja's bedside, where the fair goddess lay asleep, wearing her beautiful necklace. Loki had come to steal that necklace, but when he saw that she was laying on the clasp of the chain, so he could not undo it without waking her, he changed himself into a gnat, and crawling along the pillow, stung her just enough to make her turn over, but not enough to wake her. Then he unclasped the chain and ran off with it as fast as he could. But Heimdall was not going to let that thief get away. As soon as Loki found that he was followed, he took his other form, a little flame of fire. Heimdall then took his other shape and became a shower of rain to put out the fire. But Loki, quick and watchful, changed himself into a bear to catch the rain. Then Heimdall too became a bear, and a fierce fight began. At last the rain god conquered and forced wicked Loki to give back the necklace to Freyja. The whole land seemed to feel sorry for poor lonely Freyja. The leaves fell from the trees, the bright flowers faded, and the singing birds flew away. Once more the fair goddess went forth from Asgard to seek Odur. Away, away to the far-off sunny south she wandered, and there, where the myrtle trees and oranges grow, at last she found her long-lost husband. Then hand in hand the two turned north again, to their home, and so happy were they together that they spread joy and happiness around them as they passed along. Everywhere the ice and snow thawed before them, green grass and sweet flowers sprang up behind their footsteps. The birds sang their sweet songs, and warm summer came back to the Northlands. And everyone was glad and joyful, for lovely, smiling Freyja was at home again. Now, if you're confused, me too. Did Odur just leave on his own? Was he kidnapped by the dwarves? Was he forced to stay away, or did he just get tired of Freyja wanting to look pretty and stayed away? I don't know. Good questions. There's not enough of the Eddas, which are what their myths are called, for us to know. They haven't survived, so who is to say? Don't really know what the moral of the story is, other than don't love necklaces more than people, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I will see you all next Friday. Bye!